few notes on the Baltimore Ravens parting ways with head coach John Harbaugh after 18 seasons. First off, if you read both statements, specifically the one that put out by owner Steve Bisciotti, this was not a mutual parting of ways. I was always told over the years that if the Ravens were ever going to part ways with John Harbaugh, not very much fanfare would happen prior. Very little knowledge would be leaked prior. Yes, there was a different feel around the organization if you talk to people this year, but you never fully knew because John Harbaugh reported directly to owner Steve Bisciotti, not to general manager Eric DeCosta. It was a direct relationship between the two, and the two were very close. But when you look at the statement that was put out by Steve Bisciotti, you can tell that this was not a mutual agreement. And my understanding always was this, that they were going to part ways if there was ever a decision to be made that the two did not see eye to eye on. Now, my colleague at The Athletic, Diana Rossini, came out with a report stating that they disagreed on the future of offensive coordinator Todd Monken. It appears that Harbaugh wanted to keep Monken and Steve Bisciotti wanted to part ways with the offensive coordinator. Loyalty is a big part of a lot of head coaches and why head coaches sometimes depart organizations, and this potentially could be one of the reasons why the two parted ways. Yes, the season didn't go directly as they wanted it to. They had a golden opportunity in a playoffs without Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and one of the better rosters when healthy around the NFL, but they missed the postseason and a change is made in Baltimore. I want to state where Harbaugh is in terms of the landscape of the candidates that are available. When Kevin Stefanski became available after he was let go by the Cleveland Browns, the two-time coach of the year was catapulted to the top of the candidate pool, and in everyone's mind considered a guy that was going to get a job. Now, with Harbaugh becoming available, he essentially leapfrogged Stefanski as the most prominent candidate that is out there. Now, either Stefanski or Harbaugh could take a job or take a year off and be comfortable probably doing either if it isn't the right fit. But keeping an eye on Harbaugh, not just with teams that have openings, but with teams that don't currently have openings, that's where he stands in terms of the respect he has amongst the NFL. Now to the opening that's in Baltimore. This is hands down, clear cut, head and shoulders above the rest of the other openings for several reasons. One, this is one of the best organizations in all of sports. I literally received that text message from an executive on another team. One of the best organizations in all of sports. They treat their employees brilliantly, their benefits, their pension, everything that they have is first class, top notch. You have a stable owner with patience. You have a culture of winning that has already been established and should be easier than others to continue and create in your own vein. You have a very good general manager, as I mentioned earlier, and Eric DeCosta. You have an MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. You own one of the best defensive players in football in Kyle Hamilton, and a roster that is better than all of the other openings that stand there right now. So the Baltimore Ravens job is something that could be coveted by a lot of people. Specifically, I would look at Jesse Minter. I was told recently of the Chargers defensive coordinator that he is, quote, a star in the making and more than ready to land a head coaching position. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens also thought outside the box. And you have the ability to think differently when you look at your head coaching position, when you have so much stability within your organization. So keep an eye on how the Ravens approach this, looking for their fourth head coach in just 30 years.